Hi, how are you?
Yeah, everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, and welcome to the weird and wonderful musical world of Daniel Johnston. On this episode, I want to talk about my love of the music of Daniel Johnston. Now, I'm a pop kid, and everybody knows that. You can just look through my channel. Most everything I talk about is melodic, tuneful. No matter how strange the music is, if I could find a hook in there, something to hang my hat on, then I'm going to listen to it and more than likely love it. Daniel Johnston is an artist that not a lot of people fully understand. And when they do understand him, when they do get him, it becomes an obsession. They need to own everything by Daniel Johnston. Now, for those of you who have not heard of Daniel Johnston, what other people talk about is the fact that he was bipolar, schizophrenic. He had a lot of psychotic outbursts. He spent time institutionalized. But I kind of don't want to focus on that. What I want to focus on is the human behind all of that. I am not a mental health expert. I am just talking from my point of view and speculating. But like I said, I'm coming from a human angle and talking about the humanity of Daniel Johnston and what made him create such wonderful music. And I think that's the most important part of Daniel Johnston, is that magical, musical, extremely talented person hidden behind the mental health issues. I highly recommend that you check him out online, check out his website, check Wikipedia, anything like that. Find more information on Daniel Johnston. I want to talk about the music because it touches me in so many different ways. Daniel was coming from a really pure place. A lot of people look at his art and they say, oh, yeah, this guy was troubled and maybe a little bit evil. If you interpret the art and interpret the music, what you're dealing with is somebody focused and hopeful right there in the center of the music. It's basically good and evil happening right here. Because when you really listen to the core of what Daniel was, there's a lot of love and a lot of hope. Now, Daniel started releasing cassettes of his albums in 1981. He would record these albums on a boombox. He'd put it on his piano, play the songs, and then he'd gather these songs together, let's say 12 songs, and he'd make that an album. And he'd go out and he'd give it to somebody. And rumor has it that in the early days, he was not duping tapes. In the early days, he would give a copy of a tape away, and then he would go ahead and go back and re-record the songs, give that tape away, go back home, re-record the songs again. I think somewhere along the line, somebody must have said, oh, Daniel, you can dupe these, and, we can share them with more people. Now, he spent the first decade releasing all his albums on cassette, and they sound like they were recorded on a boombox sitting on top of his piano. The sound quality isn't always great, but the songs shine through. The melodies leap out at you. But the interesting thing I've always found with Daniel's music is it's like you can almost hear that he has a whole band in his head. And he is, he's got the arrangements, he's got everything in his head, but all we're hearing is the piano and the voice. And maybe what he's hearing, or at least imagining, is, okay, the bass guitar, maybe a horn section, but you can imagine that he's got that picture in his head. He's got that idea in his head. Now, later on in his career, he did have people come in and play with him, but those first piano recordings in West Virginia, and then when he moved to Texas and he was using a chord organ, they're beautiful. They are. They're beautiful in many ways. Maybe a beautiful melody, or there's beauty in his honesty. And just let me show you, because a lot of these cassettes and these albums got transferred to CD, and vinyl, but I've just got the CDs here. So I've got them, I think, in chronological order, and I'm going to go through them with you. But let's start by showing you these wonderful albums. This is stuff that came out on cassette. In fact, I'll tell you the first album that came out, officially on CD, but Songs of Pain. This came out in 1981, and in 1982, he put out Don't Be Scared. Now, of course, he does the artwork on all these as well. 1982, The What of Whom. 1983, More Songs of Pain. Also, 1983, one of his more popular albums is called Yip Jump Music. And, of course, his most popular album is featured as a twofer here. Hi, How Are You? Came out in 1983. And the album here that's featured with it, Continued Story, came out in 1985. And here's one here that has Retired Boxer from 1984 and Respect from 1985. Those were released right between these two albums. He also released an album called Merry Christmas in 1988, which seems to be a hodgepodge of stuff. There's a couple Christmas songs, I think, on there, and he does say Merry Christmas a couple times, but it's not a predominantly Christmas album. That's not on CD. And here is his first studio album. This is called 1990. That features assistance from people in the studio. Same with Artistic Vice. This came out in 1991. And then he started having issues. He was institutionalized and stuff. So Jeff Tartikoff, who was his manager at the time, decided to put out some collections on cassette. One called The Lost Recordings, and one called The Lost Recordings 2. And these were meant to sort of be stopgaps to keep his name out there. And then he was supposed to sign to Elektra Music. There's a big story behind that, but he eventually signed with Atlantic. And this was his one and only major label album, and it is wonderful. Then out came the album Rejected Unknown, 2001. This was actually songs I think that he started and he was going to have for his second Atlantic Records album, but they ended up dropping him. And then Fear Yourself, and this came out in 2003, and I think this is the one with Mark Linkous from Sparkle Horse. White Magic was a collection of unreleased tracks, a great compilation. It's called Welcome to My World, and this features stuff spanning the years that we've just talked about. So it does have the piano stuff from West Virginia. It does have the chord organ stuff from Texas, and then it's got some of the other studio stuff. It has some rare stuff, like he put out a single or EP called Lori on the Semi-Twang label, and that's on this compilation as well. So this is definitely worth your while. That same year, which was 2006, he put out a studio album called Lost and Found. This is not a collection of rarities. This is an actual studio album. And then Is and Always Was is an album that came out in 2009, and that's produced and arranged by Jason Faulkner. Then he worked with I believe, a Dutch band called Beam, and the album came out, and it's called Beam Me Up. It came out in 2010. And then his last studio album was an album called Space Ducks. It's actually a soundtrack to his comic book. His songs on this are really, really good. It's not all Daniel Johnston. There are a few other artists featured on this, but the Daniel Johnston songs are really, really great. Now, some of the early CDs that I was showing you, like Don't Be Scared and Songs of Pain, More Songs of Pain, Lost Recordings 1 and 2, like the first, I think, 6 CDs I showed you, those were cassette only, and then they are available as CDRs through his Bandcamp page. But they did come out temporarily as regular CDs in this box set. I think it's called The Story of an Artist. And this was, I believe, put out by Munster Records. And it's just really, really incredible. And it comes with a wonderful booklet, and it has this artwork and pictures of his cassettes and interviews with all the people that worked with him. Then it comes with a poster of the box. Then it also comes with this, and this is one of his most acclaimed artworks, and it features like all the things that have appeared throughout his life in his art. So what I've done is I've created a medley just so you can hear what Daniel sounds like. This is not in chronological order, and I've tried to feature his most well-known songs, but I've also added some personal favorites. Let's listen to this together, and I will see you on the other side.
Listen up and I'll tell a story about an artist growing old. Some would try for fame and glory, others aren't so bold.
Smiling through his own personal hell, dropped his last dime in a wishing well, but he was hoping too close and then he fell. Now he's Casper the friendly ghost, he was always polite. I come knocking at your door, you don't love me anymore, but I just can't give up, 'cause I don't know what to do about it.
He couldn't be a lover, so now he's a pest. He played the game, but he failed the test. He's a man obsessed. He's a pest. He's a pet.
Bye, bye, Barbie. Barbie, bye, bye. Knocked in the skull sure changes a man.
Some things last a long time. Some things last a long time.
Running water, what are you running from? You always seem to be on the run. You always seem to be on the run.
I really don't know how I came here. I really don't know why I'm staying here. Oh, 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 oh. I am walking the cow.
We're giving it up so plain, we're living our lives in vain. And where are we going to? You gotta really try so hard to get by. And where are we going to?
If I had my own way, you'd be with me here today. But I rarely have my own way. I guess that's why you're not here with me today. And the librarian said, you can't buy no respect. I said, hey lady, what can you expect when I'm lying on the floor?
Everything's big in Texas, you know it is. I think I might have made a big mistake. Oh, 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 chord organ blues, chord organ blues, singing those chord organ blues.
I'm getting closer to the facts. I've turned my back on silly dreams. I'm walking down that lonely road, and my heavy load, I didn't bother to bring it. When the sun shines down on me, I feel like I deserve it.
Space ducks, fighting all the evil, all the creepy people in a war in outer space. Space ducks, loving every respect.
This is life. This is life. And everything's alright. Living life. Oh, hope for the hopeless. I'm learning to cope with emotionless mediocrity. Oh,
You're loving had me screaming for more. I just loved you the best that I could. And with every lay, I was sure to be okay. Words so fantastic, straight from the heart.
Don't let the sun go down on your grievance. Respect love of the heart over lust of the flesh. Do yourself a favor, become your own savior, and don't let the sun go down on your grievance. True love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end.
Anyway, that's it. I hope this intrigues you, and I hope this inspires you to check out the music and the life and the magic of Daniel Johnston. Some call him a genius, some call him a legend, some call him an icon. Unfortunately, we lost him in September of 2019, but his music is going to outlast him for decades to come. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.